What a good day to be alive. Listen, DJ Akademiks met with Vlad on his show. Let's talk about what Vlad dropped on Akademiks the other day about Drake having these wild parties. And he was surprised that, well, he wasn't surprised, but Akademiks was surprised that nothing came out. And Vlad was saying, you know, things may come out because there's possibility. Well, there is a possibility he's getting his stuff cleaned up. Now, we remember during this beef where Kendrick mentioned that the embassy going to get raided. Now, were we overlooking his previous address? Because this could be what he was talking about. Allegedly, of course. But I got a video here today from The Vill, and The Vill cooks it up. I know a lot of y'all who follow me, go check out The Vill. If you're new here, go check out The Vill, like over there, subscribe. He make great content. And I'm gonna leave a link for his video in the description if you don't want to hear me talk all over it. But listen, he make good content for me to react to, and this one is cooking up. So I'm gonna let him cook. This is Peepodcove. Welcome back. Want to help the channel? Hit the like button, share it. I appreciate it. Hit the Cash App if you want to go further. But let's get to it.
So there's this conversation that we had last night talking about Hidden Hills. We had talked about Hidden Hills last time because of DJ Vlad. DJ Vlad did an interview with Akademiks where he had talked about Drake and this YOLO estate. This YOLO estate was in the Hidden Hills where Drake used to live at when he stayed in California. Now, this is close to Calabasas. This is when he had a conversation with Akademiks, and he had told Akademiks that he wouldn't be surprised if Drake covered up some type of suspicious activity that happened there because of all the parties that he threw there. Now, it turns out.
Yeah, I remember when Kendrick said Drake paid $500,000 to close the case. This could be one of those cases.
Last night, we had found some things out that's related to Hidden Hills. But just for a quick refresher, I'm going to play the clip right now of where DJ Vlad has said that there was some suspicious activity.
I will say, though, you know what I was impressed by? With all the shit and say not like us and everything, people talking about Drake, not one chick even erroneously filed a lawsuit or like, I thought there was going to be a few of those to take advantage of the moment. And there's been not one person that's accused Drake of anything.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if some shit starts coming out. Well, from what I understand, when Drake first moved to like Hidden Hills, like they were wilding out in that house. And him and his homies were doing some shit that probably got covered up somehow. You know what I'm saying? And now maybe people got paid. And
I remember this partying. No, not like.
I heard some stories, you know, but and I'm not going to mention them.
There was getting it in type shit.
I mean, some things could happen.
I'm sure y'all probably seen the clip already, but do you see how quick Akademiks tried to defend Drake? Even he wasn't there. He has like this dude got proof of what went on. Akademiks says, no. I know for real. Yeah, and he's still trying to defend him. He's the number two over here. You know, Maul is that. Maul took that platform a long time ago, and he got his own statue. He got his own knee pad, everything. But
maybe he's paying them off. Like,
I think Drake is just paying them off. And so, I mean, listen,
so that got everybody's attention. That got everybody's ears ringing. They wanted to know, what did Vlad mean by that? Why is he saying that something happened at Hidden Hills? Or why is he saying that something could have happened at Hidden Hills to where Drake had to pay to cover it up? A very strange thing for Vlad to say out of nowhere. And it had people thinking, well, what happened? Now, like I said in the last video, when I had talked about this property was owned by somebody that has the LLC, Richard Fitzgerald. Now, the Richard Fitzgerald LLC is owned by Drake. We know that because of Ebony Prince, because Ebony Prince had.
Damn, all this shit is connected. It's all connected. And this sounds more into what Kendrick was talking about. See, we're all the way over here on the East Coast, so we don't know what's going on over there in the West Coast, in Hollywood, all that stuff. We don't know about that. We over here minding our own business on the East Coast, chilling out. So we don't know what's going on in Calabasas unless somebody tell us. Unless somebody tell us what's going on, we don't know. So, Vill, man, you do some good work, good digging, good researching to bring all this stuff up, man. Make sure y'all like the video. Make sure y'all go over there and give him a like. I appreciate y'all.
Revealed that Drake's alias at the Mark Hotel was Richard Fitzgerald. Now, remember, Ebony Prince was the person that obtained the items from Meet the Grams from Drake at this hotel and was able to expose his name as being Richard Fitzgerald, aka It Fitzgerald. Because of that, we were able to find out that he had the Richard Fitzgerald LLC, and this is what he later on used to purchase the property over there in Calabasas, over there at Hidden Hills. Now, He later on eventually had sold it to Matthew Stafford for whatever reason. Matthew Stafford ended up trying to sell the property shortly after, not because he's leaving.
That's football player Matthew Stafford. And then he sold it. Wow. And these athletes do wild, crazy stuff. But when Matthew Stafford went to LA, he was actually a lot older. So he wasn't in his Playboy phase. He was more in his parenting phase. And obviously, Drake don't know nothing about parenting. You don't know nothing about that.
In California, he's apparently still staying in California, but for whatever reason, he just doesn't want anything to do with this property. He's selling it for only 12 million. He had bought it for 11. So it just shows you that he really wants to get out of this property. It makes you feel like what DJ Vlad was saying is that the reason why Matthew Stafford doesn't want to own this property, because of the recent owner, Richard Fitzwell, aka Drake. And now we have Vlad out here saying that there was something going.
So he basically is saying Drake stained the house. Is that what he's alluding to? The house has been stained. Drake sold his hidden house home to an NFL player. He kept it a couple of months, not even a year, and he only made like $200,000 on it. But he wanted to get out from under it because it was so bad. Like he probably couldn't sleep in there. Yo, that's crazy when you make athletes basically run from a house that's meant to party in.
Went on over here at the Hidden Hills, there's something going on, and Matthew Stafford didn't want anything to do with it. So eventually he tried to sell the property later on. Now, what we found out eventually, because we started looking into Hidden Hills, we started trying to figure out, well, what exactly is going on over here? And one of the biggest clues that we had came across last night about Hidden Hills was Splash Brothers. Splash Brothers was an original song that had featured Drake and French Montana. Later on, the song had came out, but it didn't have Drake anymore. It only had Lil Wayne. So Splash Brothers, the original song, the first verse has Drake in it. And Drake talks about the Hidden Hills. Drake says, yeah, on Double MG, I'll F a rapper's wife. She ain't even my type, but I'll make the sacrifice. Have her splitting thighs like she work at Gladys Knights. Yeah, I was never nothing nice. Guys know the real secrets left in Hidden Hills. And this is the part that we were talking about. Guys know the real secrets left in Hidden Hills. Bought the whole street up, and I got it for a steal, which is funny for him to say because we know for sure when he had bought the property, this is when he had sold the property to Matthew Stafford for 11 million. This is the buyer, this is the seller. But right here, Richard Fitzwell, which is Drake, he's the buyer, and he bought it for almost 3 million from a Gopher Diego Aleo. So he actually did get it for a steal because then he ended up selling it for 11 million when he just bought it for 3 M's. This is proof that Drake not only had sold the compound for Matthew Stafford for 11 million, but in the song with French Montana, he admits that he bought the whole street up for a steal. I guess he did when he gets it for 3 million and sells it for 11. So we know that he's talking about Hidden Hills because of this, and we know he's talking about the Yellow Estate because of this. Guys know the real secrets left in Hidden Hills. So what are the secrets exactly? I guess Drake didn't even want people to answer that question because this song got scrapped. Now, for sure, this song is out, but it only has Lil Wayne on it. Drake had stopped this song from being out so severely that he had to send a cease and desist. And this is why him and Rick Ross started beefing.
Okay. It's crazy how more and more things are coming out over time. Apparently, he was one of the king of cease and desist. You know, and he's always the one to come out and put the blame on other people. But when you really peel back the onion, he's the one that's been sending cease and desist to shut songs down. But this one could have a true meaning, though. I believe that there was probably some things in that song that he felt like shouldn't come out. There was a lot of truth in there. Obviously, we got the song now. You can look at the lyrics. We're going to have to try to figure out what he was talking about.
Why Drake and Rick Ross started beefing really bad online was because he had sent French Montana a cease and desist for this record. Rick Ross had talked about this song later on. Eventually, he had came out and had made this song where he had dissed Drake. And this was Champagne Moments. This was a song that had came out right before the beef had kicked off with Kendrick Lamar. But it's what Rick Ross says at the end right here is what catched a lot of people's attention. Right here, Rick Ross says, I unfollowed you because you sent a mother effing cease and desist to French Montana. You sent the police, hated on my dog's project. That wasn't the same person that I seen when we were making them early records. Now Rick Ross is saying that he has sent the cease and desist to French Montana because of this record. We could confirm that because eventually it had been reported on the news. It says Drake did send French Montana a cease and desist. It says here that he eventually had sent it. And then this is when they had talked about Rick Ross, talking about how he didn't like that he did that to French Montana. But it doesn't end there, because when we watch the music video for this song, there's a part that Rick Ross says in the song that caught my attention with the music video. He says, told y'all guys to stay scheming. I predicted my fate. Got more money than you. If you want me to say 50 mil for the crib where you want me to stay. And I think it's important when he says this, 50 mil for the crib where you want me to stay, because in the music video, when he says that, this pops up right here.
50 mil for the crib where you want me to stay.
So he says 50 million for the crib where you want me to stay.
Shit. That's say Hidden Hills.
What are you talking about, a house on the Hidden Hills? Because then Rick Ross has shared the shirt, the back of his shirt says Hidden Hills. So now I'm thinking, well, wow.
So hold up, there were a lot. How many houses were there in his? Is it that photo he showed? So that means it wasn't just one house. So this could be where the whole tender situation went down, right? It's starting to click in my head. You know, I'm thinking about it like tender, you know, and they probably bring all these celebrities over to the big house and they keep this is all alleged. It's just things going in my head all of a sudden. Hidden Hills.
Does Rick Ross know what's going on
with
Hidden Hills? Does Rick Ross know what's going on with what DJ Vlad?
He has to. They all have to. You know what I'm saying? Because if K-Dot know, Ricky know, they all know.
Drake had sent a cease and desist to him in French Montana. I unfollowed you because you sent a mother effing cease and desist to French Montana. You sent the police and hated on my dog's project. That wasn't the same guy that I seen when we were making early records together. Now, Rick Ross is upset because Drake had sent that cease and desist. But I'm thinking that Drake had sent that cease and desist because of the fact that he didn't want anybody to hear him talk about the real secrets left in Hidden Hills. And out of spite, Rick Ross makes a diss record called Champagne Moments. And when he talks about a crib, he shows the back of his shirt in the music video that says Hidden Hills. The same thing that DJ Vlad had talked about when he said that Drake could have paid to cover up some suspicious activity that happened at that party compound.
There's been not one person that's
coming out. Well, from what I understand, when Drake first moved to like Hidden Hills, like they were wilding out in that house. Him and his homies were doing some shit that probably got covered up somehow. You know what I'm saying? And now maybe people got paid. And
maybe this partying. Not like.
I heard some stories, you know, but and I'm not going to mention it.
It was getting in type shit.
I mean, some things could happen.
Maybe he's paying them off. Like,
I think Drake is just paying them off. And so, I mean, listen.
Which makes me feel like I talked about in the last video, why Matthew Stafford decided to get rid of the property. I feel like Matthew Stafford had found out that this was Drake's party compound. There was a lot of stuff that went down there when he used to live there. And it just made me feel like Matthew Stafford just tried to get rid of the property altogether because he didn't want nothing to do with it. Why else would he sell the property for only an extra $1.5 million off the top?
I mean, that's weird because going into buying the house, he knew who he was buying the house from. It's not like all of a sudden the purse went from Drake to somebody else. He knew who he was buying it from. Unless Drake hid behind that LLC until after it was sold. That's the only thing I could think about. But why would he not be okay with it? I mean, everybody know Drake was selling the house. I think it's all alleged.
He bought it for 11 and he's trying to get rid of it for 12. Doesn't seem very profitable if you ask me. But moving forward, I really do think that Rick Ross was trying to send a message to Drake when he had made this music video. I think that he knows what's going on in Hidden Hills, because why else would he wear this shirt during a diss track music video that he's sending out to Drake? This whole song is a diss record for Drake that he decided to make a music video for. I don't think that it's just a coincidence that he's wearing Hidden Hills. And in the same time as he's rapping the lyrics talking about a crib, he shows the shirt that says Hidden Hills, where Drake used to own a crib at. Just feels like he's doing this on purpose to slight Drake. We have DJ Vlad, who's talked about Hidden Hills. We have Drake, who's talked about Hidden Hills in the scrap verse. And then we have Kendrick Lamar, who seemingly is hinting towards 4 p.m. in Calabasas with 616 in LA. So we went back to 4 p.m. in Calabasas because this is basically Drake in Calabasas over there at the Hidden Hills. This is a song that he had created while he was staying there, or at least he was still living there at the time and owned the property. Because
Drake liked to tell on him
in June 2016. So we went back to 616 in LA and 4 p.m. in Calabasas, because 616 in LA is supposed to be imitation of 4 p.m. in Calabasas, 5 a.m. in Toronto. It's supposed to imitate Drake when he took the time and location of places and named.
Man, the Vill is cooking up some shit right now. Damn. And I knew eventually everything would come full circle on this, but keep going, Bill.
After the title of a song. But what was funny, and real quick side note here, when we were doing this, 616 in LA was the name of the song, but 4 p.m. in Calabasas was actually released and created on June 2016, which is 616 in LA. Drake had released the song on 616, and he was in California, or at least owned a property in California at Hidden Hills at the time of this release. Even going as far as sharing the same messages on here, he says something like this. He says, I guess it's different in the city I come from. All of a sudden, I got people showing how much they truly resent me. The whole demeanor just spells envy. They trying to tempt me. Now, this is Drake talking about how people on his team are resenting him and they envy him and all of this, right? So going back to 616 in LA, like I said, it shares the same sentiments, same similarities, where Kendrick talks about how his entourage is only there to hustle you. 100 people you got on salary and 20 of them want you as a casualty. Now, I think that going back to this is showing us that Kendrick knows what's going on at Hidden Hills. Kendrick knows exactly what's going on. And the same similarities in the lyrics are showing you that, you know, going back to 616 in LA, the time matches the date of the song's release. Not only that, but it also has the similarities of when Drake is talking about people in his team resenting him. It also goes back to when Kendrick was saying that people want to see you as a casualty that you had on salary. The same similarities. Not only that, but Kendrick says, what would Mike do? And at the end, or at least not to the end or close to the end, Drake says something about Mike. He says, when they told me to take an R&B guy on the road and I told him no and drew for Kendrick and Rocky, I tried to make the right choices with the world watching. Mike never tried to rap like Pac, and Pac never tried to sing like Mike, which makes me think, is this the reason why Kendrick had brought this up at the end of the song when he said what Mike would do? It makes me feel like 616 in LA was also a reference to this right here.
It ends exactly that. Ask what Mike would do. You might be alone, but ask what Mike would do. Wow. So K-Dot flipped that whole 4 p.m. in Calabasas into 616. Damn near. But this is in 2016, right? 4 p.m. in Calabasas. So Drake has had people against him in his own camp since then, and they're still on his team in 2024 and 2025. Dude, you need to get some new people. Because in his verse, he's talking about that. Wow. Okay.
It looks like 616 in LA could have been a reference to 4 p.m. in Calabasas. And if that's the case, was Kendrick hinting towards the Hidden Hills? Was he hinting to Drake that he knows what's going on in the Hidden Hills? Because why would Kendrick make a song called 616 in LA, sharing the same similarities in the lyrics of 4 p.m. in Calabasas? Not only that, but 616 in LA shares the date that 4 p.m. in Calabasas was dropped. And when this was dropped, Drake was living in LA, or Drake was living in Calabasas. Makes me feel as if this was a sign that Kendrick knew what was going on when Drake lived in California. This could have also been a way where Kendrick Lamar could have been hinting at Drake and his escapades over there at Hidden Hills. Just a slight thing that I had noticed when I was going over the lyrics yesterday. But that means that there could be a possible chance that Kendrick was referencing it. For sure, Rick Ross could have been referencing it. And for sure, DJ Vlad had already said what he said about Drake potentially covering things up at Hidden Hills. So you already have two, for sure, out of the three that have talked about Hidden Hills and have pointed out Hidden Hills. And it looks like there could be possibly, potentially, keep it alleged, something that could have happened at this compound when Drake had stayed there. Now, I'm not sure exactly what it is that DJ Vlad is referring to, but it shares the same similarities to what Rick Ross is talking about when he brings up Hidden Hills as well. And what's crazy about all of this is that they bring up Hidden Hills at different times. DJ Vlad just did the interview with Akademiks a few days ago. This had came out last year in 2024. And I think a lot of people were just at the diss record because of the things that Rick Ross was saying. He was saying stuff about Drake, you know, about the surgery, about things like that. It really was something that the media ate up, but they didn't really understand the Hidden Hills message, because I think that this message was supposed to be something subliminal that only Drake would understand. I think this is why Rick Ross had made this music video this way. And it's interesting to know now that DJ Vlad is not the only person that's hinting towards Hidden Hills. Rick Ross could be hinting towards Hidden Hills as well. And it could possibly be Kendrick Lamar hinting towards it also. There was something definitely going on at this compound.
All right, there it is. So I'm thinking that It's all these and these, right? If I'm wrong, let me know down there. But either way, there's a lot of houses here, even if it's just this. And man, you could have parties, ain't nobody hearing nothing. Okay.
Because why all of a sudden all of these other individuals are talking about Hidden Hills as if something went down? And remember, this property was owned by Drake with the alias Richard Fitzenwell, meaning that this property was literally owned. This party compound was owned by a man named Richard Fitzenwell on legal paper, on legal documentation in black and white. A party compound owned by somebody named Richard Fitzenwell is diabolical. Could only imagine the type of parties that Richard Fitzenwell is throwing. We already know that's the alias he likes to go by in the hotel, in the Mark Hotel. And there was a whole other freaky situation going on there. But apparently Drake likes to be called Richard Fitzenwell when he's doing a dirty deed. I guess that's something that he likes to go by. I guess it's another alter ego. Anita Max Wynn, Richard Fitzenwell, Drake. I guess that's what it is. But I think all of this, Rick Ross, DJ Vlad, Kendrick Lamar, I think all of this were other clues that potentially exposed Drake's escapades at Hidden Hills. I was completely shocked when I saw that Rick Ross had pointed out Hidden Hills a while back. I feel like he was doing all of this on purpose to send Drake a message, subliminally, of course, because only Drake would know what this shirt would mean when it comes out in the music video. As of right now, this Hidden Hills situation, I feel like is getting deeper. I feel like the rabbit hole is getting deeper. I feel like there's a lot of things that need to be uncovered. And right now, these are the things that we found out last night on live. I wanted to make a quick recap video for everybody to watch, in a shorter.
Listen, there's a lot of connections being connected right now. Hey, peace out to The Vill, man. He made a great video. Make sure y'all go over there, give him a follow, like the video. That was an amazing breakdown. Listen, Vlad ain't wrong. And we know, like I said, Dot mentioned this in the song, but we were thinking about the embassy in Canada. We weren't thinking about his previous home that he had in LA. And apparently a lot of things went down at this place. So much things that the second owner sold it before he even really moved in, Matthew Stafford, and he's an NFL football player for the LA Rams. And is it LA? Yeah, it's LA Rams. And their names change so much nowadays, you don't know what's what anymore. But yeah, apparently, we laughed about Drake naming his house the embassy or whatever you want to call it. But if it's just to cover up stuff in plain sight, change the name to give it something positive so you don't look at it in a negative way. Because apparently, and then the Rick Ross jacket, nobody knows about Hidden Hills, and Rick Ross wore that in a jacket in the video. And we never saw it till now. We're finding out like there's been a lot of hidden things in Hidden Hills, I guess. But let me know what y'all feel about this video down in the comments. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one. I appreciate y'all coming through and checking me out. Peepodcove. I'm going to see y'all on the next one. Later, y'all.